Welcome to my channel, and it's time to talk about my December. First of all, let me say once more happy holidays. I hope that you all had wonderful Christmas time and a very good New Year celebration. I would say that in December I was less a colorist and more like video blogger because the bigger amount of my free time I dedicated not to coloring but to filming all my huge collection of coloring books and finished works. So thanks to everyone who patiently waited for them, who watched all my videos. It was long, but I honestly enjoyed filming them, trying to remember everything I have done during my whole coloring life, over 5 years of coloring. So it was a big pleasure for me to film them, and I hope that you also enjoyed those videos. Also, thank you so much for them. 24,000 subscribers here on the YouTube channel and 14,000 on Instagram. It was a huge amount of me, and I never expected to have such an audience. Well, now let's have a look at my finished pictures. Unfortunately, I had huge plans in the beginning of the month, but in the end I managed to do only a small part of all those pictures. And it's a pity because I can color all those pictures with Santa, snowman, Christmas ornaments in October, November, December, but in January it's already out of my interest. In January I will try to find winter pictures, but all the amazing Christmas books, they will go on my shelf until the next year. And what I did one page in Tatiana Bogema Christmas book. I wanted to do several, I printed them, but I managed to do just one. And here on this paper, which is very simple paper, I always get questions which paper I use, so it's simple Ukrainian manufactured paper, labeled like paper for drawing, nothing special, but on one side it has quite decent tools, both for more luxury pencils like polychromos and for my budget pencils like Arteza, Sucolor, which I enjoy using them, and at the same time I can use it in my printer, so no problems with printing. And I think that for Tatiana Bogema pictures it's absolutely great. So here I decided to do very quick work on the background with alcohol markers and then with Sucolor pencils, which are very bright, so very good for this style of childish illustrations. They are absolutely great. I did the rest of the page. I really tried to show this atmosphere of waiting for Christmas, especially this lovely girl mouse. She is probably dreaming or looking through the window waiting for Santa, but the rest of the company, they are already started to eat their Christmas goodies, all those yummy things they have. I wanted to show this warm light coming from the candle on the highlights on the window frame and also on the clothes of the mice, on the metal surfaces here. So it was interesting to do. Nothing special, but these pictures in Tatiana Bogema books, they are very helpful when you need to relax, when you want to play with bright colors. They are simple but adorable. And to finish this printed part of pictures, I decided to finish my advent calendar by Johanna Basford, but you can see that I again failed. If I managed to do this page the last year, this year I did several nice pictures and I love them, but it's absolutely ridiculous that I didn't find any inspiration and time to do the last one. And you can say a lot about my love to Johanna designs looking at this one. I do enjoy doing them, but in a very small amount. Probably it will have to wait until the next year, or maybe something will strike me in January and I will finally finish this one. It's definitely very funny. Now let's move to my books. I started December from this not very wintry page in Manic Botanic, but I did it simply because I enjoy coloring berries. Let me put this aside. And here I have my picture with berries. Maybe it's more autumn page and less winter one, but I wanted to color berries. I mostly used Arteza, and I can't say that it's perfect because I was so absorbed into doing all the berries and plants here. I started as usual from the background, then I did leaves, then I colored all those berries. You can see that they all have different color palette, so I spent a lot of time. And in the end, on the last steps, when I had to do birds, I started from the lower part of the page, and here color combo which I selected with brown, black and blue, it relatively worked. But I was already slightly tired of this page, so when I did birds here on the upper part of the picture, maybe I made a mistake with brown wings or gray wings, gray-brown. They would be better against the almost similar color of the background. I don't know why I decided to do it such way, mostly because it was my last element and I wanted already to switch to the next project. So now if I would do it, I would change the color of their wings to brown and gray. And here, in order not to lose them against the blue background, I had to outline them heavily with white paint. They now are visible, but that's a small element which I would change now. Next, let's move to Cottages or Kolorowanka by Władysława Schaffer-Hans. And of course, here I did the most adorable winter page. As usual, I prefer here to use polychromos pencils. They are perfect on this surface, but for the areas of the snow, of course, it's easier to use Prismacolor pencils. So gray lavender, blue lake, or light cerulean blue, and sky blue, light powder blue, everything which is helpful for the snow I used here. And probably my favorite part here is this wooden house. I really enjoyed doing it, and I think that we have quite pleasant sunny here, pleasant winter day. Most of all, I think that most creative part here that I added a little bit of pink to the sky and to the snow, so it looks a little bit less boring comparing to the simple blue area of the snow. Next, I did a very busy page in Fairy Celebrations by Klara Markova. All pictures by Klara are extremely detailed and so full of details that when I color them, I feel like I'm doing a huge project, and in the end you almost feel overwhelmed with all the elements you can find on her pictures. So even if I had huge plans to do several pictures, maybe even spread, but when I finished this one, I think that I realized that I need a break from Klara's books, but I hope to return to her book, maybe to do something like this one, which is not completely Christmas, it can be simple winter page. Anyway, let's have a look here. Again, here I mostly used polychromos pencils. I absolutely love them on this paper, but for the lighter areas where I need tender pastel colors, of course I used several Prismacolors. Here I really tried to calculate how to color all the gingerbread houses, because I love them and probably they were the main reason why I selected this page. I do love their roofs, how they are decorated, but I also had to color all the cookies and gingerbread men somehow to attract attention to them. All those lollipops in various shapes, so a lot of interesting things here. And I do love this one. It's simply, sometimes I think that maybe it's too many objects on one page, but it definitely was a lot of fun, and I do love to color such pictures which remind me about illustrations in children's book. Also, I have this tiny gingerbread man which I did with Prismacolors. Next, in December I got the newest book by Alena and it's my first works in by this artist, so I was quite interested in trying her pictures, and also I was interested to try this artist edition. It's a book published in Russia on very good paper, and apart from many interesting Christmas pictures, winter pictures, it has several designs in traditional Russian style. It's so-called palech-like miniatures, and of course that were pages which I was extremely interested in, but mostly they are dedicated to Russian winter holidays, which are in January and February, so I hope to continue coloring this book in the beginning of this year. And for December I selected this winter toy shop. I wanted to test paper, so on this page I used crazy set of materials. I used alcohol-based markers here on the wall and first layer on the wooden part on the cupboard. Then I added texture with regular pencils, and I tried both polychromos, Arteza, Prismacolors on this very good paper. Then a lower part, the floor, I did with watercolors. So I was absolutely happy with the quality of the book. Well, page is extremely busy, so I decided to use my favorite trick, how to attract attention to the main character. I used blue color here in big amount for her dress, and the only other area where I used it to support it a little bit for the snowman, because I already mentioned the traditionally Russian snowman, which we call the Father Frozen. He wears blue, so I also decided to use a little bit of blue here, but this big area of blue really helps to attract attention to the girl, and also this lovely adorable pink dollhouse. It was fun to color all the toys, so I'm quite pleased with this project. I hope that in January I will return to this book and I will be able to do something in this style. Next, I used my romantic country second tale book when I filmed my plans for winter coloring, and I still intend to maintain those plans because there I included not only Christmas pictures but winter pictures, which I will be able to color in January and February. So there I mentioned that I want to do a nightcracker spread here, and I finished it. It was a simple coloring because here we have many repeated elements, but because of the big area to color, it was quite a long coloring. I deliberately tried to use many light colors, and also if I used green or blue or gray, I tried to select their cold variety. Cool gray, cold almost bluish green colors, and only small amount of bright colors. Bright colors and warm colors I mostly used to attract attention to the main characters here. You can see that even my Christmas decorations, they are either in pastel or cold colors. And the curtains also, and the glass inside of the window. First I was thinking that inside of the windows I will use yellow. Maybe we have some kind of dancing Christmas ball inside of the palace, but then I decided no, I will use yellow only for the nutcrackers to attract attention to them, and also to the reindeer, because also it's important part of this design. So instead I decided to create impression of the wintry frozen page. Maybe you can see that I also added snow. I sprinkled white paint over the whole spread, so it's falling snow, and I covered some architectural details with white paint to make impression that snow is laying on the walls of the castle. I also added some additional or Christmas decoration to the trees. For me, they were not enough for the beautiful palace, not festive enough, so I added additional Christmas balls, and I think that in the end I quite like this one. I wanted to add some more branches probably to the Christmas wreath on the door, but then I decided that I like it as it is. Of course, I colored in the books by Teresa Goodrich. Usually, during previous years, my main winter book was Winter Wonderland, but unfortunately this time I totally skipped this book, so maybe I will try to find there something for January. And I was fully invested in Enchanted Christmas and Christmas Charm, my newer books. Let's start probably from Enchanted Christmas. Here I did this pastel page. I would say that between these two, my favorite definitely is Christmas Charm. If you need to select just one Christmas book among all books by Teresa, I would definitely recommend this one. But this Enchanted Christmas, it's also very sweet, even if designs are a little bit more girlish, probably more childish, more simplified, but in the same time they are unusual. So we have some cute elves, we have very nice reindeers and girls elves, and also even mermaid having Christmas. I definitely plan to color almost everything here, but it's a pity that it will have to wait until the next November probably. But what I managed to do here is this pastel Christmas, where I used neo color crayons for the background first, and then using blend of pencils, polychromos and Arteza, I think. Well, I even managed to forget. But this video is available on my channel if you still need it. You can find it. So I did the rest of the page. Instead of traditional red poinsettia and red bubbles, I tried to select all the pastel light colors to match the spirit of the page. So I think that I managed to do quite interesting page, at least an unusual one. And I also tried to mask bigger amount of the black lines, especially on the fairy dresses, on their wings, to make them more celeste creatures. I don't know. Anyway, sometimes without black lines everything looks much more interesting and more professional, so to say. But the second page I love a little bit more. This one I did with my traditional combo of Prismacolor pencils and Posca pens, and here we have gift wrapping. Of course, I wanted to attract the biggest amount of attention to the very nice, very cute small Christmas tree in the central part of the page, but to color all the toys and other things here, it was quite fun. I was a little bit worried about this huge Christmas ornaments, especially comparing to the tiny bubbles here. But in the end, this garland and these ornaments, they somehow merged into the whole page, and I think that I managed to create good spirit of the atmosphere before Christmas when we pack our gifts. So that's probably why I selected it, and I think that I managed to show this very festive atmosphere before Christmas. In Christmas Charm, I also did two pages. First one I did with Arteza pencils. I already mentioned in the video, it's also available here on YouTube, that mostly I selected Arteza first to switch from my regular Prismacolors and polychromos, because when you color a lot, just like I do, and you color, for example, many Christmas trees, you color all of them with the same set of Prismacolor pencils, and it's really boring. Sometimes you need to switch your head to something else, but you still want to color Christmas tree, and that's why another brand of pencils, it's very helpful. And besides, Arteza has a very good range of green colors. You know that I am far from being a fan of Arteza company, but their pencils, they are decent, especially for such pictures when you require brightness and good coverage of the paper. Still, Prismacolors are my favorites on this paper. Sometimes I feel that Arteza are a little bit too waxy here, but when you don't need heavy layering, when you are able to cover everything with just one layer like I did here, they are quite helpful, and their greens help me to create this nice pine tree. I don't know how it looks on the screen because my camera hates normal regular looking greens. Camera always turns them into something like neon green, but in real life I do love colors which I selected here, more gray green, natural green colors, and I decided that traditional Christmas color combo of gold, red and bright green I will save for the train, which is definitely the most important part here of this page. And in such way, in order to not to distract attention from the train and having these very huge ornaments, I decided to color them with more pastel colors, and again Arteza has good selection of them, so I was quite pleased when I finished this one. I think that these rows of lights or beads, they really created very festive atmosphere on the Christmas tree, so I love it, even if I'm not very happy how I did this texture on the wood, because I had some problems, as I said, with layering here. Everything else is quite good. And I think that I was right that I did quite a dark background. It helped to attract attention to the main objects. And also I did this Christmas town scene. I think that here we have time directly before Christmas when everyone goes to purchase the last presents, and I decided to make it an evening picture. I know that evening picture together with snow, they always look very spectacular. So I slightly changed the look of this building, covering part of it, and in such a way getting bigger area for the night sky. Then I was quite attentive to all the areas of the snow. I used a lot of white paint. And if you look closer, I also have falling snow. I sprinkled the whole page with white paint. I also tried to show that everything is highlighted by the warm light coming from all the shops, cafe, all the flats which we have on the upper layers of the on the upper layers of the building. Anyway, probably the funnest thing was to color the snowman and the Christmas tree. I think that it's a good page. It's busy and I had to struggle a little bit of some of the elements, but in the end I managed to catch this atmosphere of the evening scene when everything is very nicely decorated before Christmas. And finally I have winter page in book by Maria Trolle, which was surprisingly for me, but I planned to do this page from the moment when I got Botanicum, so already for a couple of years, but I had some doubts about this one. I can't say that I do love the look of the girl's face and her hand, but in the end I decided that still I can practice on this page. In the beginning I wanted a very light, almost invisible background, something between grey and blue. Then I realized that on such background I either have to mask the snowflakes completely, and I wasn't able to do it with the watercolors and neocolors, or I have to add a little bit more of the dark color like I did here in the end, to be able to work with white paint and to outline my snowflakes. But I think that mostly I selected this page because I really loved this maybe camellia flowers and these berries around. I would prefer to slightly different shape of this flower composition, maybe not as symmetrical as we have here, but I work with what I have. And I decided that I am already tired of traditional green leaves. I did already so many green leaves, so here I decided to do something more fantasy style. Here I used Inktense and here I used polychromos. Again, for me it's unusual color combo and I enjoyed using them together. Very helpful to color quicker with Inktense and then to work with details with polychromos. But on the lightest flowers I also added Prismacolors. And finally, let me show you my non-winter, non-Christmas pictures which I did in December. I decided to take a short break from all the Christmas trees, snowmen and gingerbread men, and I colored in this Wondrous Wizards by Martin Noble. Here it's a good example how very cheap book. I think that the price is around $3 and cheap set of Sucolor pencils which I usually use here. They still can give you a lot of pleasure and they can help you to do very good pictures. I think that all pictures which I colored here I did with very cheap pencils like Starjoy or Sucolor. I have this one, I had this one, and in December I did this Magician. I think that this picture definitely has some medieval style. For me he definitely looks like Merlin from the stories about King Arthur, and I think that it's the first time when I tried to use this violet color for the magician's cloak. I think that it looks quite nice together with the colors which I selected for the frame, for the background. First I thought that to do the background would be very boring, but when I decided to do this dark background with light gradient around this magical flame, it started to be much more interesting. Also, I tried to do a little bit more colorful bricks here on the wall, so it wasn't very boring. Then I did this extremely bright violet on the cord to attract attention to the magician, and I supported some of the colors I used on the cord, using them also on the flowers. So it was quick, fun, easy, and it really helped me to switch a little bit from winter pictures. Next, I colored in one of my newest books. It's Lady Spring. Here we have compilation of works of various artists. All these ladies created pictures dedicated to the spring season, but still I wanted to color something to test paper, and I selected page from the artist which is totally new for me. It's Anna Marcinska. As my first project, I selected this Japanese plum. I fall in love how Anna draw faces and how she draw all the flowers, animals, so I really love her style, and of course I plan to color more in this book, and I hope that in a couple of days I will present you the newest book by Anna which I got recently. But here, as it was a test page for me, I again mixed various media. For the background I use both watercolor and gouache paints, and paper is really very good for all paints. Then for the main image I used my very cheap Starjoy pencils. They have good variety of pink colors. They have light peach pink, they have brighter pinks, they have like magnolia pink, so really nice shades. I do love them because of the pinks, and also they have some nice greens. I wanted this viridian or emerald green for her kimono. I think that it created good contrast to all the pink and peach colors. Only for her skin I used polychromos pencils because it's easier for me, even if we don't have here any complicated shading on her very fair skin. Still, with polychromos it's much easier for me to color skin. And finally, I did a couple of tiny works in this adorable set of postcards by Karolina Kubikowska. It's set from the series Spirits of Nature. It's called Into the Forest. And here we have included, apart from the weekly planner, this coloring postcards printed on the watercolor paper. So of course, apart from being very interested in coloring pictures by Karolina Kubikowska, because before I didn't have her books, so it was my first experience to try her style, and of course I also was interested to color on such a good paper. And indeed, paper is perfect for watercolors. I was really happy to read that it's just a first set, so we will have more. And this bird, which probably was the least interesting postcard in this whole set for me, so there I decided to test media. I used watercolors for the background, I used Inktense and graphitins for the leaves and for the mushrooms, and on the bird I used together Prismacolors and polychromos pencils. I'm not sure if I would use them as postcards. It's totally possible because nothing bleeds through, but maybe I just will keep them for myself, especially the second one, which is a little bit creepy but at the same time adorable. I honestly don't know what this adorable fox used for preparing this morning tisane. I think that probably some mushrooms were used for this drink because of the opened third and fourth eyes, but I enjoyed doing this. Again, I mixed various media. For the background, it was funny, I used two paints. They both were named Naples Yellow, but one was gouache, one was watercolor, and they provided me with slightly different hues of yellow, exactly what I needed. Then for the leaves I used my new shades of watercolor simply because I wanted to test them. Those which I purchased recently, they are called Perylene Violet and Caput Mortuum, so I use them for the leaves. Bright flowers I did with Inktense, and finally on the fur I used Darwin drawing pencils. It was quick, fun, and I am sure that in January I will do more of such works, because when you're limited in time, watercolors and small pictures, that's exactly what you need to unwind, to create something in relatively short time. And I simply love the style of Karolina. For me it's very refreshing, definitely something different from watercolor usually, so I hope to show you more in January. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you all have a wonderful start of the new year. I want to thank you all for your support, and honestly, during the last year I had several difficult moments when I really wanted to drop this channel, especially when you compare amount of views on my channel and on some of the other channels. Sometimes it's depressing, sometimes it's insulting, but then you return, you think about all the kind comments you leave me, about all my patrons and members of my channel. So thank you, and I hope that in January I will manage to stay productive, even if you know that our Christmas holidays, they are from January the 1st until the January 8th, so I will have some time together with my family, but I still hope that I will manage to do good amount of winter pictures. I hope to start some of my new books, to test some of my new art supplies, so I hope that my channel will be interesting to watch during January. Thank you again, and have a beautiful start of the new year.